All right, take your phone, put it in another room, turn off all your notifications, and pay attention, because risk management is the most important aspect of your trading. You need to pay attention to this. So grab a notebook and absorb all of this, because this is what's going to stop you from blowing accounts. It's going to take you from being a break-even trader to a profitable trader and have you making thousands and thousands of dollars in this game. Now, right out of the gates to start, I'm going to address the biggest misconception with risk management, and that is the idea that if you're setting stops and you're risking a consistent amount, that you are managing risk. You're good. It's over. That's all you need to know. That is so wrong, and I'm going to show you why. So there's two sides to risk management, and if you're doing number one, that's good. Don't stop doing it. That's great. You're already ahead of 80% of traders if you're doing number one. But there's a second step to it. So instead of just using stop losses and consistent risk, all that is going to do is it's just going to have your account bleed off. If you're not doing step number two, which is the reward part, you need to capture larger profits consistently. If you're not doing step two, your account's just going to bleed off slowly. It's not going to be blown in a day because you're using stops and consistent risk, but over a period of a couple weeks or a couple days, your account's just going to bleed off, because although you are losing consistently and you're losing slowly, the reward part is covering for those losses. You have to be able to hold your profits and capture large amounts of money consistently. Now, if you don't understand what a risk to reward is, simply put, it is a calculation of how much you are getting for how much you're risking. Think about that. It is just one number. So I'll use these indicators on TradingView, which I recommend you use. You can find them on the sidebar. They'll be over here. So let's look at this trade. If I were to get into a position right here and I'm risking 10 points, my stop loss is at 10 points. My take profit is going to be up at 20 points. So the simple calculation for that is your reward divided by your risk, and that gives you a risk to reward. As you can see here on these indicators, TradingView calculates this automatically. So if I have a 40 point take profit and I'm risking 10, 40 divided by 10 equals 4. Same for a short position over here. I'm risking 10 points to win 30. Let's bring this down a bit. What if my risk was a bit larger? What if I was, maybe doing a 30-point risk? 30 divided by 30, that is a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Now, ideally, what you're going to see a lot of people do, they're going to have their risk to reward like this, and this is what you generally want to aim for. Now, don't get caught up in the idea that you have to have a calculation like this, that you always have to be aiming for 4R, 2R, 3R, or even 5 or 6R. That's not necessarily true, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. But generally, with risk to reward, you want to get this high as possible. You want to be taking profit as high as possible. Now, on to the point that I previously mentioned, where I said that you don't necessarily have to have a really high risk to reward to win. This is a calculation sheet here, and this is what you need to be at break even. So based on your win rate, if you have a very high win rate, your risk to reward to be break even doesn't need to be that high. If you think about it, that checks out. If I'm flipping a coin 100 times, but I am winning 80 times, well, I don't need to have a 2-to-1, a 3-to-1, a 4-to-1 risk to reward. A 1-to-1 or even a 0.5-to-1 will work here. And this is where the sheet comes in handy. Even a 67% win rate, if you are winning half as much as you are losing, even a 0.5 risk to reward, you're still going to be break even. And you can see here, as the win rate goes down, the required risk to reward to break even goes up. Now, keep in mind, this is just a break even calculation. You want to get both of these numbers as high as possible. You want to have the highest possible win rate with your strategy, and you also want to have the highest risk to reward. The higher these numbers are, the more profit you're going to make. So now, using the coin flip example, let's do some math to really break this down. So let's say that every time we flip the coin, if it's heads, we win $1. If it's tails, we lose $1. We're flipping a coin, so the outcome is going to be 50-50, or a 50% win rate. That means that we're going to win $50 and we're going to lose $50. 50 winners, 50 losers, $1 for the winner, and a lost $1 for the loser. 50-50, break even. So that example was a 1-to-1. Let's try a 2-to-1. So meaning we are going to win $2 for heads. We're still going to lose $1 for heads. We'll take our outcome of 50-50, 100 coin flips, 50% win rate. But now 50 times 2 is 100. We're still losing $1 for our 50 losses. But now, considering that we have a 2-to-1 risk to reward, we made $100, we lost 50. That equals a $50 profit. You can see just with a 2-to-1 risk to reward, a 50% win rate is profitable. Hopefully by now, you're probably starting to see how this can apply to your trading. So now I'm going to bring up an issue that I guarantee almost 100% of you have gone through, where you're risking a consistent amount, you're setting your stops, you're not blowing your account anymore, but you get scared in profits. You get a trade and it goes your direction, 10, maybe 15 points, maybe you get it up $100, $200, and you get scared. You exit the trade based on fear. You don't hold to a certain amount of risk to reward, you just get out of fear. Nobody goes broke taking profits. That quote runs through your mind, and you tell yourself that it's okay to get out of this position right now because you don't think that there's anything wrong with taking profits early. And obviously, yeah, in that moment, you're not going to lose money taking profits, obviously. You have to understand that this is a game of outcomes and probabilities and statistics. Over 100 coin flips, over 100 trades, and I use this example here. If you're getting out early, over 100 trades, that's not going to be profitable. You have to think in terms of numbers and sustainability instead of thinking and obsessing over that individual trade. So let's take our coin flip example here, but instead of a 1-to-1 or even a 2-to-1, we're going to do a 0.5-to-1, meaning when it's tails, I lose $1, and when it's heads, I'm only winning 50 cents. I'm not even capturing a 1-to-1. I'm capturing a 0.5-to-1. So 100 coin flips, same outcome, 50-50, 50% win rate. But now do the math. 50 cents times 50 winners is only $25 profit. We're still risking $1, so that's 50 times -1. That's a $50 loss. Now over this 100 coin flips, we're in the red. You have to understand, think of this in terms of trading. You're taking 100 trades, you have a 50% win rate, you're risking $100 to only make $50. Do the math. With that 50% win rate, you're not going to be sustainable in the long run. So let's use that same example, 50% win rate, but we're going to do a 1-to-1 so that we can go break even. I'll just show you on one trade, I'll run you guys through what goes through most of your heads. So you just entered this trade, you're going to put a stop above this high. A 1-to-1 means 33 points. So it's going. Okay, you're in a little bit of profit there. You're getting nervous. It's going. Okay, big candle. Yep, it's looking good. Oh my God. And then you shit your pants. You're saying, uh-oh. Well, man, I'm already in 10 points of profit. It looks like it's starting to reverse. I think I should get out of this right now because I think it's going to reverse on me. I don't want to give up this profit. So I'm going to exit right here. Well, you only captured a 0.3 risk to reward. You risked $100 and you only captured $33 of reward. Now keep in mind, if you have a really good win rate, like above 70-80%, you can pull this off. You can absolutely pull this off. But most of you are probably going to be floating, less than 70%. And this isn't sustainable. Because you got scared, and you got out of the trade based off emotions and no actual logical facts of price action. You just seen it start to reverse on you and you wanted to take home your profit and you didn't want to, get out at break even. You just screwed yourself. Now, this is one trade and most of you are probably going to walk away from this smiling because you see green on your P&L and you're saying, yep, I just want to trade. And, you're walking home, you're happy. But this should piss you off. If you have a sustainability mindset and you're focused on the right things, if I ever end up getting out of a trade earlier, if I get stopped out of a trade and I only capture something measly like this, if I don't capture at least a 1-to-1, I'm not happy about the trade. I'm more upset about not capturing a solid risk to reward on that trade. I'm more upset about that than I would be if I had just lost the trade in the first place. And so of course I cherry picked this example, but let's see what happens. So you panicked, you got out. Oh, look at that. Eventually it ended up running all the way to your first take profit. Now you could have captured a 1-to-1, which is much more sustainable in the long run, but you got scared and you got out early. 100 ways to, have an exit strategy. There's lots of different methods. You're not going to find one that is going to capture all the profit all the time. Don't get caught up in thinking that you can't miss out on profit. You're going to miss out on profits. It's just how this game works. You're never going to be able to exactly snipe the bottom or the top every time. So do some experimenting. That's why I mentioned in the strategy video that you should come watch this video first before you go and backtest, because you can experiment with this in your backtesting. Some people trim their position. Some people, will hold right to their first take profit and do a full exit. That's fine too. Whatever works for you. Just do some experimenting with it. Every 30 trades or so in your backtesting, change it up. Mark down where you changed it up. See if your results get any better. And I'll show you mine. Mine works probably the best for me, which is a half a trim at 2R, and then I do another half trim at 3R, and I de-risk at 1R. Now, if you do the math on the first trim, doing half an exit at 2R guarantees that I lock in a 1-to-1 risk to reward, a 1-to-1 realized profit. If I risk $100 and that trade goes 2R into profit, meaning that is $200 of open profit. If I cut half of that, that's $100 of realized profit. I risked 100, that's 1-to-1. I don't like to have winning trades that don't cover for at least 1R. And then the second exit is at 3R. I just get out of the full half at 3R. And then I like to de-risk at 1R. Now, de-risking at 1R does not mean that I will go stop loss break even every time. Based on the market structure and the price action, I will move my stop down to a better point. Usually I like to move it down to a point where if the price action met that point, the trade would be completely invalidated. Moving it to stop loss break even at 1R, is a kind of, I can get wicked out sometimes in highly volatile conditions. So I don't like to get too impatient with it. I will move it, maybe at a swing high or above a fair value gap. Let's try it out here. I am in for 10 contracts at 5 points of risk. That is $100 of risk on this trade. There we go, straight down to 1R. So I'm going to look to adjust my stop now. This orange line is going to represent my stop loss. Luckily, we have a high right near my entry, so I can have it pretty close to stop loss break even. Now we're going to continue to watch for our 2R target, see if we get there. And boom. Now, you can use these tools on TradingView. I don't necessarily do this. It's especially when you're doing a high quantity of backtest, it's a real pain in the ass, and you can't trim with it. If I were to set a take profit order down here, which you can do using this tool, you're not going to be able to trim though. It's going to want to exit your full position. But just for shits and giggles, I'll just do it manually down here. And we will aim for our last profit target at 3R, and boom, there it is. Flatten the position, and we got $245. So we risked $100 for $245. If I get my full 3R, that ends up being 250%. So 2.5R. I risked 100. I got 250. We'll add this extra $5 because I had to get out a little early up here. But yeah, when I get a full run on my take profits, I capture 2.5R, which is very good, and often it does run without me, and I'm fine with that, Sometimes if we're into all-time highs, I'll set it at 4R, but overall, if you're capturing 2.5R consistently on your trades, you should smile, because 2.5R is very good. So now you should have a pretty good idea of how you need to manage risk. If you want to find this cheat sheet, it will be in the risk management section of my Discord. You can join that by clicking on the link in the bio. It's just a small sheet with some, formulas, graphs, charts, things to show you, what you can, how you can manage risk, what you can expect if you manage risk a certain way, expect and see losing streaks and loss of capital, drawdown, recovery rate, the risk to reward and required win rate to break even, exponential growth, consecutive losses. If you want to see this, or if you want to download this, you can join the link for my Discord. It will be down below. Now, we are moving on to psychology, and psychology is going to tie in heavily with your strategy and your risk management. Strategy and risk management is just a set of numbers, just a set of probabilities, and if you can get those probabilities to turn in your favor, boom, you have a working system. Now, psychology is going to be about executing that system day in and day out, keeping your head high through losing streaks, not jumping ship on a losing streak. And we're going to touch all on this in the video, and it's going to be a really good one. Psychology is by far the hardest part of trading. So hopefully you got some notes here. Risk management is, it's the most important part. It's going to stop you from blowing your accounts. It's going to, when you're learning and you're testing and you're still kind of in that beginner phase, risk management is going to allow you to experiment with your account and not blow up. It might even have you, getting some payouts or making some profit. If you're managing risk well enough, you can win with a 50% win rate, a 33% win rate. It doesn't matter how good your win rate is, as long as your risk to reward covers for it, you can win in this game. So that's risk management. You're up for the psychology video. It's going to be long. It's going to be a big one, and I'll see you guys there.